Since this is the last board meeting before our elections, and we do have our earned income tax renewal up, I wanted to take a few moments to review the earned income tax renewal for our viewing public and also to answer some of our frequently asked questions. The earned income tax renewal is worth $11 million. It was worth $11 million last year, which is approximately 18% of our operating budget. And simply put, it's needed to fund staffing and programs in order to prepare our students to be successful for the 21st century. It is an earned income tax, and that means it only taxes wages. It does not tax retirement, Social Security, or investment income. It is a renewal. Therefore, it's not a new tax. This tax has actually been on the books since January of 2007, so people have been paying this tax since that time. Since it's a renewal, it does not raise anyone's tax rate, and it will provide the same funding levels that it has in the past. So people ask why it's still called a renewal, because we're going with a different term, and that is the one difference in this tax than the one that we passed back in November of 2006. It is still a renewal because it is the same type of tax, which is an earned income tax, at the same rate, which is 1.5%. But as stated before, we are seeking to make this a continuing tax. This continuing tax then will provide long-term financial operating stability for our schools. And that's the main reason why we are going after the continuing tax. The bonus to this is that we would be able to then be financially stable for the long term. And then we can have the opportunity to finance the building of 2 new junior high schools without requesting additional tax dollars. Financing a building, very similar to a person taking a mortgage out on their home. In our case, it's with general obligation bonds, which pay off in approximately 23 years. So it's therefore, the continuing tax gives us that financial stability so that we can pay off the bond debt over the long haul. We are asking for the tax to be renewed a year early. Therefore, we want to make sure everybody understands that the tax would not take effect until January 2017, so we will not be collecting double in any year. This allows us to provide for accurate financial planning and, more importantly, to secure state funding for our junior high schools. We are still in the Ohio Classroom Facilities Assistance Program, and this program provided 35% of funding for our elementary buildings, and if we can pass this, it will provide a similar amount, similar percentage for our junior highs. The other thing is we presently have elementary buildings, and we'll have more that are empty. If we demolish a junior high and rebuild on the same area, we will need some place to house those students. While we have elementary buildings open, we can use those to educate junior high students while we construct new junior highs. So the timing of this is very important. The way that we are looking to finance those junior highs are through our carryover, or some people call it a rainy day fund. We've been able to get some dollars in our carryover as a result of responsible budgeting. We've been able to build a nice nest egg. This is not enough money. People ask if you could operate on that. Well, it's not enough to sustain operations because, again, this earned income tax brings in $11 million a year. So when you reduce the rainy day fund, if you have to use that towards operations, it's not going to last very long. Here's a good slide that gives the viewers an idea of how we've been able to acquire a decent carryover. And that is because since 2006, our average annual cost increase per pupil has been 1.72% per year. The Consumer Price Index over the same period of time is 2.33%. That means that our cost increase since 2006 are under inflation. We've been able to hold ourselves under the inflationary rate for cost increase since 2006. And if you compare that to our similar school districts, they're a little bit above the inflationary rate at 2.44%. I want to refer back to the slide that Julie showed earlier. This is our cash balance currently, and it shows that on this side, if the earned income tax is not renewed, this is how fast we would drop off financially. That is not a gradual decline, that is a cliff, and that we would be falling off of. So it is critical to maintain our operations to renew the earned income tax. And finally, I have a slide here that people ask, how do Lancaster City Schools taxes compare to the other districts in the county? Here's a great comparison slide that we've put out before. We have an income tax rate just like everyone else in the county. Ours is third lowest at 1.5%. Under the second column, the type of income tax that districts have, half of them are earned like ours, half of them are traditional. Next column, total spending per pupil. We're at $8,221, which is right in the middle of the pack for county schools. Here's a great indicator of how we're spending our money. In this category, percent of operating funds spent in the classroom, 71.7%. That's higher than any other district in the county. That means that we provide more of our dollars for instructing students in the classroom than anybody else in the county.
Yay.
And our final column shows how we compare per taxpayer to other districts. Our cost to the taxpayer is second lowest in Fairfield County. We are second lowest. So we still, we believe Lancaster City Schools, we provide a great education at a very reasonable cost. Finally, my last slide shows the actual language that will be on the ballot, and there it is for our viewing public, and we certainly encourage everyone to come out and vote.